Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Timothy here. We are doing an Ixalan draft. This will actually be my second draft of the set. I managed to go 3-0 with my first draft, which I'll be posting the draft up, even though the matches might not be with it. So let's jump in and see what we've got here. All right, so Ruin Raider is a pretty interesting card. It's basically if you raided a creature out or if you manage to attack with a creature, then you get the Dark Confidant trigger on end step. It's a good card. It's a little risky. It seems like a fine first pick card, but I'm normally not a big fan of these cards in Limited. It depends on your curve, obviously. There's also Savage Stomp, which is actually just a Savage Beating. It's Hunt the Weak for 1 less mana, 3 mana total, and if you target a dinosaur you control with it, it just costs a single green, which is absolutely absurd. By far one of the best uncommons in the set. It might even be better than Ruin Raider, and I think that's what I'm going to take here. I do think this Archer's pretty good. You don't have to use the fight ability. You can do some pretty cute stuff with fighting your own creature for enraged triggers. There's also Call to the Feast, which strikes me as a pretty decent card. Ruin Raider and Savage Stomp are pretty close, I think, but I think Savage Stomp is just the better card. Even if you're not a straight-up Dino deck, this is just really good in any green-based deck. Outside of that, we have Vanquish the Weak, which I think is fine. Sun-Crowned Hunters, which I think is a decent card if you're able to play it maybe a turn earlier. And then outside of those uncommons and the rare, not super stoked about a lot of them. Sword Point Diplomacy. I do think this is a solid card. There's a lot of black in this pack and quite a bit of green. There's one red card, one blue card, one white card, and then the rest is black and green. So had we taken the make 3 vampires, we would probably take Bishop of the Bloodstained here. Sword Point Diplomacy is interesting. I don't know that it's actually amazing. Gives your opponent the option just like pay 9 to make this card do nothing or choose the cards you get. It doesn't seem amazing to me, but it does seem fine. Had I taken Ruin Raider, I probably would take Bishop of the Bloodstain, I think, or Sword Point Diplomacy. There aren't really a lot of cards that I really want to take here. I could take Pounce, because it fits in the same kind of decks where Savage Stomp is good. Maybe Bishop of the Bloodstained is what I want, even though I don't know that I'm going to be vampires yet, so this may not be the payoff I'm looking for. I think I'm just going to stick with Pounce here. I could take the dinosaur, but this dinosaur is very likely to, if I really want a 3-4 reach, I might get back. I think it's solid. Interesting that, I guess the person passing to me took a rare, since there was a foil rare in the pack. Shaper Sanctuary seems like a sideboard card at best, not particularly amazing. I do like Fathom Fleet Cutthroat. I've got to be careful about taking black cards here because I've passed a lot of black to my left, of course. This card's pretty decent. When it enters battlefield, you get to snipe down a creature that's already taken damage that turn. There are a couple ways that you can make that happen. There's Prosperous Pirates, which I think is solid. Marauding Looter, which doesn't really go with my first 2 picks, even though Pounce is kind of like... Pounce isn't amazing by any means. I think people overrate it a little bit. The only green card here that I'd be interested in are the Keeper, possibly Jade Guardian, which I think is a decent card. If blue ends up being open, we could shift into blue-green, and that might be what I take here. It's very good for my fight spells. If I manage to put some extra counters on this, this can basically come down as a 3/3 hexproof. So I think that's what I'm going to take here. There's really not much else I care about. If that Keeper comes back, I'll be pretty happy. Ooh, here's something I'm looking for. 6 mana, 6/6 with Trample. Outside of that, this pack's not amazing by any means. If I ended up being like white-green dinosaurs, this color would be nice. And there's also Spiketail Ceratops, but this is a good top-end card. Field of Ruin is okay as a sideboard option, but it only hits non-basics. So there are very few times where this is actually going to come in handy. And it replaces the land you destroy, as well as the Field of Ruin itself. So it's not like it's amazing here. And I am seeing blue open. So if I can shift into like blue-green merfolk, I'd be pretty happy. Or if I just end up being like green dinosaurs or something like that, I'm pretty happy. But I like staying on color here. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Savage Stomp, you say? Jeez. Okay, well, I mean, this is the 3rd day the format's been out online, but people have to know that this is just really good, right? I'm also seeing a lot of red here. I would not mind Raptor Hatchling or Tishana's Wayfinder, but I'll go ahead and take Savage Stomp here, and then we'll prioritize creatures moving forward. Creatures and ramp, but this has got to be a sign that green is pretty open for the most part, even though it doesn't really look like it. I'm seeing that white's pretty cut here and black's pretty cut at this point. So I'm going to take another Savage Stomp, which is a beat-in. All right, this card's probably just a trap. It's a 1-mana 3/3, but your opponent gets to search their library for a land and put it on the battlefield. It's really only decent on turn 1, and even then it seems like the type of card you don't want to be playing. Wily Goblin seems really bad to me. I'm not sure why this is an uncommon if it's double red. If this was 1 in a red, I could see it being a little bit better, but double red is pretty bad, even though it makes a treasure token. I guess it gets to your 4 drops early, but doesn't look great. Blight Keeper's only really good, I imagine, if you have a lot of raid triggers on your 2 or 3 drops. Nest Robber's a good aggressive card, but I think I'm actually going to take Ixalan's Diviner here. Decent little card. 0/3 that explores. Probably a little bit worse in the late game. Doesn't work too well with our fight spells, but I like it. Ooh, Seeker Squire. What is Pirate's Prize? Oh, this is the draw 2. Shorekeeper. Here we go. This is a pretty decent card. We're going to need a lot of early game to make our fight spells really worthwhile. Well, we have an option here. Again, I think the person to my left is going to be black, so if we take a black card, we're probably not going to get a lot in the next pack, but we probably will in the last pack. Red has looked fairly open as well, and red-green dinosaurs is a real archetype, so I think I'll take the 6-drop and look to just fill in some of the earlier parts of my curve. We're looking for some cheaper dinos. I would not mind the guy who makes dinosaurs cheaper and also gives them haste. I believe that's an uncommon. But if we can fill in kind of our 1, 2, 3 drop slot and then have maybe a way or two to ramp into these 6 drops, I'll be pretty happy. Again, Pounce is significantly worse than Savage Stomp. I've noticed that a lot of creatures are close in power level, so Pounce looks a little bit worse in those situations. What does this do? Crew 4. Oh, I want to try this. I really do. Oh, there's Blossom Dryad too. All right, so this is a 4-drop, 2/5 vehicle. Crew 4 is tough. Crew 4 seems really tough. It attacks as a 2/10, so it's basically impossible to kill. And then it comes back transformed as this land that just kind of destroys things. Crew 4 has me very skeptical. Blossom Dryad might just be the pick, but I guess I want to try out some of the rares while I can. There's also Nest Robber, which would be fine. Blossom Dryad's probably just the correct pick here. Well, I was going to switch it to whatchamacallit. All right, well, we got a decent 5-drop here. River Herald's Boon would be a lot better if Jade Guardian wasn't my only merfolk. So I think I'm going to take the Archer. 1/4 reach, can fight another creature when it comes in, and I'm reasonably happy with that. Jungle Delver's not really a card. Aerophant's Chalice does ramp you into your 6 drops, but I think I'm just going to take Crash the Ramparts here. That's close. I think I can get another one of these if I need it. And Jungle Delver's not really a card I think you should ever play. So, okay, we got us a little 2-drop there. I don't mind that. Other options. This card's fine. I don't think it should be that late in the pack. Gilded Sentinel's close to unplayable. You really only play it if you absolutely have to. Oh, there's Kinjali's Collar. That's not quite the what I wanted. Keep in mind, I don't necessarily have to be red. I also really don't have that many dinosaurs, to be fair. Who knows? We might end up white-green. I don't really want Rummaging Goblin that much. I guess I'll take Demolish, even though Demolish is about as bad as sideboard cards get. So, 2 decent 2-drops. Nothing like super exciting. The Branch Walkers would be nice. This probably not something we really wanted to take there. Just very mana intensive. I guess it's good in a slower matchup. Seems like it could just win you a game on its own, but Crew 4 has me a little skeptical. Ooh, Search for Azcanta. Snapping Sailback. Yes, yes, yes. Perfect. This is the type of card we're looking for to make our fight spells really good. Now, there's also Dusk Legion Dreadnought, which is good, but this has got to be just worse than Snap and Sailback. Commune with Dinosaurs would probably be okay. It might come back around. There's also Fire Cannon Blast, which 1 in double red to deal 3, but the raid trigger makes it deal 6. So just very good removal. Search for Azcanta, I think, is probably not that great in limited. You have to get 7 cards in your graveyard before it really goes off. Just kind of a card filtering card. So I would happily take Dusk Legion Dreadnought here, but I'm taking the Snap and Sailback. 5 mana, 4/4 with Flash is already insane by itself. Whenever it takes damage, you put a 1/1 counter on it. And if you use a fight spell on it, it triggers that in Rage, right? It's just a very good card. one of the premium uncommons. Is that another search? Well, these are legendary. They certainly don't get better. Here's a lot of black cards. Jeez. And I guess we have to make a choice here. So currently, my white leads me towards basically just this card, whereas red is basically just this card. And I have a choice here of whether I want to take Tillinelli's Knight, which is fine with dinosaurs. It leads towards a more aggressive deck, or Territorial Hammer Skull, which is just one of the best white commons in this set. I don't really want any of these other cards. I'm not shifting into black. I think black's going to be pretty cut pack 3. Spiketail Ceratops is pretty replaceable. So I think I'm going to take the Hammer Skull because I do think the upside of this collar is a little bit better if I have a bunch of dinosaurs, even though I think Sun Crown Hunters is pretty good. Hammer Skull is just very, very good aggressive card. Oh, Rootbound Crag's fine. What is Verdant Rebirth? Till end of turn, target creature. Oh yeah, when it dies, you put it back in your hand. Maybe I just want Rootbound Crag here. I'm probably not splashing a double red card. I don't really have mana fixin' per se. I really wish I had taken the Blossom Dryad instead of this Conqueror's Galleon, but that's fine. Crew 4 just has me super worried. I guess you only need to crew it once to make it kind of go off, and it does ramp you if you get to do that. It's just a little unlikely that's going to happen. I could take Vanguard as an aggressive creature, but I'm not really too into this card. I think it's fine, not amazing. Verdant Rebirth could be good, I suppose. Headstrong Brew is fine. This is better in a pirate deck. Actually, it's really only good in a pirate deck. Maybe I take Rootbound Crag here or Verdant Rebirth. I think both these cards are fine. I'm going to speculatively take the mana fixing. This isn't good. This is a fine card. 2 mana 2/2, and if it gets blocked, it gets +1/+1. I'm not a fan of Fire Shrine Keeper. I do like Tishana's Wayfinder. There are 2 decent 2-drops in this deck, or in this pack, and I think either one of them will come back, if not both. I doubt both will, because there are some pretty bad cards in Demolish and Demystify. Arcane Adaptation's also not a card that makes very many decks, I don't think. It might be correct to take the Warrior, but I think I'm going to take Tishana's Wayfinder. I do like Explore. I do want some more creatures that can crew the Galleon. Coppola, you say? Ooh, there's Branchwalker. The other Archer came back. It's possible I get this Archer too, and I wouldn't mind Grazing Whiptail, but this card's pretty good. A 2 mana 2/1 is already fine on its base, but a 2 mana 2/1 that either explores or either draws you a land or becomes a 3/2 on turn 2 is pretty good. I think this is what I like to see in the Explorer cards. When it's already a playable card, if you don't hit the counter, you're pretty happy with it. Whereas there are some cards that really need the counter. Here's a good example. Sunrise Seeker. If you don't hit the counter, you're paying 5 mana for a 3/3 Vigilance, which is just dreadfully bad. I'm definitely taking this Branchwalker, though. Deep Root Water. Oh, that's the Merfolk thing. Lots of blue cards this time. Makeshift Munitions, not really what I want. I guess Pterodon Knight could be good if I end up with a lot of dinosaurs. It's not like I'm really a dinosaur deck. I have, what, 1, 2, 3 dinos? Could just take Deep Root Warrior. It attacks pretty well. It's another early aggressive creature. I'm still not even necessarily playing white, to be fair. I don't really have a lot of reason to play red, though, outside of this one card. I think I'll take Deep Root Warrior, though, over Pterodon Knight. This card's pretty bad if you don't have a dinosaur, but it gets way better if you do have a dinosaur. I'll just take another aggressive 2-drop. Another Archer, geez. Well, this is not the deck for Ancient Brontodon. I also think Riggin Runner's pretty bad. I've already seen people play this quite a lot. I think it's just not a good card. Ixalan's Keeper. I'm going to take this Archer. I do like it. Ashes of the Abhorrent. It's a pretty bad card. Looming Altasaur, I guess, is the only thing here that I'm interested in playing. Chupacabra does seem like a pretty decent build-around type card, but not amazing. I don't want Jungle Delver, and I'm not playing any of these other cards. I guess I could just take the rare here, because I don't think I'm playing an Altasaur, but I like Commune. I like Commune with dinosaurs. There's also Mark of the Vampire, which I think is pretty sweet. And Cobbled Wings is usually decent in these decks, but I'm not a huge fan of the card on its own. You have to be in a position where you can freely attack. Ryle's also a little bit overrated unless you just have like really good enrage triggers. It's not even like amazing on a snap and sail back. I'll take Commune here. Note that I'm almost mono green. All right, I don't mind picking up another decent 5-drop here. It's not like it's insane, but River Herald's Boon is not going to be good in my deck. I really only have one creature it's decent on, and I think the Ceratops is fine. Verdant Rebirth, well, that came back around, and I think I will play it. Also, the Keeper came back around. Interesting that I'm almost a mono green deck here. No mana ramp, though, to be fair. Prying Blade, whenever the equipped creature deals damage, you get a whatchamacallit. I'm not really into either of these cards. This is what, a human? You would assume by the art it's some sort of dinosaur, right? But I think it's just the dude up on top. You can barely see him. The Sunrise Seeker. This card's bad. I think the more expensive Explorer cards are quite bad because you want them to come in with the counter, and by the time you get to like your 5 or 6 drops, you're probably not too excited to draw a land, and you'd rather your creatures be a little bit bigger. But the fact that you can't really control that in most situations means that the card's a little bit worse. I think Explorer is much better on these cheaper creatures where either hit is fine. Oh, wow. This is not a last pickable card. This card is fine outside of a pirate deck and really good in a pirate deck. Doesn't seem like it should be going last pick over cards like Demolish and Mystify, right? Overflow and Insight. 7 mana, draw 7 cards. Well, we're going to lose to that, I'm sure. Blossom Dryad, Unfriendly Fire is good removal. Shine and Aerosaur is also a decent dino. There's another Call of the Feasts. Guess we didn't see a lot of vampire payoffs, but had I picking up that first Call to the Feast, there'd be another one. Right Reprisal is a little worse than it looks, I think. It's just easy to play around and very obvious when you have it. I'm probably going to go with this Blossom Dryad here. Shine and Aerosaur might come back. Unfriendly Fire would be fine splashable card, but Blossom Dryad gets our 5 drops out a turn early, and also our 6 drop a turn early, which I think is pretty sweet. So, also, not to mention, if for some reason we're really stalling out the game, I guess it does untap this. That seems very ambitious to be able to use this ability multiple times in the same turn, but hey, it's something there. I think I'm going to take the Dryad. It is a little awkward that most of our removal spells are reliant on our creatures, so if our opponent plays something really, really big, it's going to be hard for us to kind of use that to our advantage. We have 5 ways of fighting creatures. Another Archer. Fleet Swallower is pretty bad. I don't think you should play that card. Ooh, Ravenous Daggertooth's not terrible. What else? What is this? I think this card's pretty good. Ooh, Sheltering Light I like quite a bit too. Huh, I'm between Ravenous Daggertooth and Sheltering Light. Sheltering Light saves one of your creatures, and you also get to scry 1. I guess I'll take the Daggertooth here and hope that this wheels around, which it might. Although, if there are white players at the table, they're probably going to want that over Vampire Zeal or Looming Altasaur. So, I probably can't rely on this coming back. If it does come back, I'll be pretty happy with it. And I think these archers aren't amazing at taking out creatures, so I don't think you want to just like stockpile them. I already have 2, and who knows, I may not be playing more, but Daggertooth seems pretty good in my deck. And I don't know, I guess it's a replaceable 3-drop. It might come back around. There's some pretty bad green cards here. Yeah, I guess I want to stockpile some dinos. Maverin Fane, you say? It's probably not very good in my deck, considering I don't have like any other vampires. Ooh, Territorial Hammerskull. I do like that card in multiples. Maverin Fane. This only triggers if you attack with a vampire. It does trigger on itself, but it's just not that amazing on its own. I like the idea of taking another Hammer Skull here. Did I say Hammertooth? Emperor's Vanguard. Ooh, another Snap and Sailback. What is Vineshaper Mystic? This is the Merfolk card. Conquistador. I'm not a big fan of this, even if you get multiples. Well, I was going to take Emperor's Vanguard, but I don't think I can pass up this Sailback. This card is just such a beating. Again, very good with our fight spells. Emperor's Vanguard is not like a bomb rare. It's just a decent card. It has to deal combat damage to explore. And if you're able to constantly get this creature through multiple times, you're probably already going to win that game, considering it's a 4-power dude. But it's very likely to just trade off with an opponent's creature. I like Sailback. These are pseudo removal spells. Goring Ceratops. Deadeye Quartermaster. Lots of red. Here's that red card I was talking about, but it's less appealing when the only mana fix I have is Rootbound Crag. It's also a 2-drop, so it's not very splashable. It might seem silly, but I'm kind of leaning towards this Ceratops. It's really not great, being a 7-mana 3/3, but I do have 2 ways to ramp into it between my Blossom Dryades, my Kinjali's Collar, and I guess this, if I flip it, it's technically a form of ramp. It can end the game. Daggertooth's probably a better card to play, but I like having one more top-end creature that can actually just end the game. Wow, Savage Stomp, are you kidding me? Whoa, the 3rd Savage Stomp. I might not even want Pounce in my deck. I did pick up quite a few dinos in the 3+ slot, so I think this card gets a lot better. Verdant Rebirth. I don't want Ancient Brontodon. I don't really want a second one of these. I guess out of this pack, if Savage Stomp wasn't here, I'd either take the Diviner or just Crushing Canopy as a sideboard card, but we're snapping that Stomp. Deetroot Champion? How good is this card? I'm not sure. Interesting. Commune with Dinosaurs, Deeproot Warrior, Tishana's Wayfinder. Kind of leaning towards the Wayfinder here, just as a value creature. I'm not really that into the second Commune, I don't think. And Deeproot Champion actually doesn't seem that great. I guess it's fine if you ever get one counter on it. It's probably pretty decent, but we're not playing a lot of spells, right? I'm going to take the Wayfinder. Who knows? We may not play it. I don't think Deeproot Champion's that great. We're not playing anything here, so I'll take another Archer for the sideboard, just in case my opponent's on exclusively 1 toughness creatures. Aerosaur came back. We might not play that. Sure, Archer. We have 4 Archers. This card is uncommon for what it's worth. It's not really good with cards like Snap and Sailback because it is a fight. It'll actually just die. Mark of the Vampire is good. These other 2 cards are pretty bad. Guess I'll take Elaborate Fire Cannon in case I need more removal, even though I think this card's quite bad. Jungle Delver is never making the cut. It's just not going to happen, so I'm just going to snipe up a bat. Ooh, Daggertooth. Look at all these 3-drops. I could cut white from my deck and be almost exclusively mono-green here. I think the payoff for these Hammer Skulls is pretty good, and I think having double Snap and Sailback makes me want this Kinjali's Keeper, Ancient Brontodon. What do they call this on limited resources? They call it Gregory, I think, which I think is pretty funny. Huh. All right, so we have Stomps for days. Stomps for days. 30 playables, is that right? Spiketail Ceratops looks a little bit worse when we don't have things, but we do want to make sure we have dinosaurs. Yep. So, wow, 3-drops. Not cutting any of the Savage Stomps. If I'm going to cut a fight spell, it's going to be Pounce. Verdant Rebirth also seems like I don't necessarily need it at this point. I'm not really into the Goron Ceratops, to be honest. The only white cards I have in my deck are Collar and these guys. I kind of like Jade Guardian because it is decent with the fight spells. It's very hard to interact with a hexproof creature. These aren't amazing. What do I have for Deeproot Warrior? 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 2-drops. Those are decent. Don't really need the other Ravenous Daggertooth either. I guess I can go ahead and bin one of these Archers until we know for a fact it's good. And the matchups it is good in, we'll just bring in the other 3, right? Yeah, I think the payoff of playing these white creatures is actually really good. Because Territorial Hammer Skull is strong. Shining Aerosaur might not make the cut. I guess it's still pretty decent. It's good with Savage Stomp, right? This card's super skeptical. I do kind of want to try it out, but Crew 4 is a real cost. I'm going to cut, I think... I don't know, man. The more dinosaurs, the better. Spiketail Ceratops doesn't seem insane. This is probably a 17-land deck unless I end up cutting a lot at top end. Let's see here. I'm not really in love with Pounce. Guess I don't need both these Tishana's Wayfinders either. Question is, if I need to cut some 3-drops. If I'm gonna cut one, do I end up cutting a Ravenous Daggertooth or a Wayfinder? I think I cut a Wayfinder before the Daggertooth. This more consistently gets me to Crew and the Conqueror's Galleon, and Wayfinder, not only do we have another one in the deck, but it might just come down as a 2-2 when I need it to be a 3-3. I guess I'll go ahead and cut the Aerosaur here over the Spike-tailed Ceratops. Again, just considering how good my Savage Stomps are going to be. I suppose I could cut one of the 2-drops. I kind of like Commune with Dinosaurs in this deck. It can help me find my white mana. On top of that, it can just help me find some dinosaur for whatever situation we need. How many dinosaurs do we actually have? We have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I guess we only have 8 dinosaurs. That's less than I thought we had. Savage Stomp is still good without dinosaurs. It's just insane with dinosaurs, right? It's still good on cards like Jade Guardian. Keep in mind, it gives you a +1/+1 counter before the fight happens. I suppose I can cut one of these Keepers. I'm not getting to 8 mana that often, so it's basically a vanilla 2-2. Then that leaves me with one more cut here. I'm leaning towards one of these Daggertooths, possibly Crash the Ramparts, even though this is a good aggressive spell. Can also sometimes be used as removal if I get to the combat trick part. Pounce. Pounce is probably fine in my deck. Not amazing, right? Kind of leaning towards cut and pounce here. That might seem silly to some people, but I don't know. I need to cut some 3-drops, so. I do like my top end. The Sailbacks plus Colossal Dreadmaul is just a beating. Lots of 3-drops. Decent high end. We have some ambush potential in these Sailbacks, which in Dear just really saved me in a game. Being used as a removal spell while also just putting a huge creature on board. Pretty crazy. And then we've got some creatures to trade off early, a lot to do in the 3-drop slot, lots of fight spells. Then I guess 1 card advantage engine, even though I don't see this happening very much. But I want to try it out. We do need to try the rares out. Looks like a 17 land deck to me. Probably go a little bit higher on these. Wow, did they really have me at 18? Kind of like 10 and 7. I guess I don't even need that much white. 11 and 6. I would like to cut 1 land here and play 16. Maybe that's fine. I've been spoiled by other sets where you can cycle lands and stuff like that, but I don't know. The export creatures do make it a little bit more prudent to play more lands because they can draw into them quite often, which is essentially just drawing you a card, but I don't know. Goron Ceratops, I just don't think this card's that good, but I took it speculatively. We have some sideboard options if we end up playing against slower or faster decks, so I like where we're at here. We're going to try this greenish, just barely splash in white for 3 cards Dino deck. Hopefully I get this color and a Plains on turn 1. And I'll see you in the matches. Let me know what you guys would have picked, what you would play out of what I have here, and hopefully we have some fun matches. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys here in just a little bit. Hey guys, it's Timothy here. We are playing an Ixalan Draft. We are playing basically mono green, but we've got a couple white cards in our deck. Ooh, this is sketchy. I think I'm going to keep this. If I draw any creature, it ought to be good with Savage Stomp. Probably be a little bit better on the play too. But if we're against an aggressive deck, I could see this being pretty bad, since the Galleon's not going to do very much and Sailback's a good ways away. I'm going to keep, but we'll recognize that it's a pretty poor keep. And a red deck, not quite what we want to see. Also, we only put, what, 6 or 7 planes in the deck? So I don't really want to see all that either. We'll go ahead and just see what happens here. Something like Nest Robber would be just a little backbreaking because I'd easily take like 6 to 8 damage off of it before Sailback even comes down. I'm hoping to just hit one of my 2-drops. Alright, Raptor Hatchlin's not too bad because it's only going to hit us for 1. This is the creature that has the Enrage trigger that makes it 3/3. Oh wow, really? I guess this is part of the reason I'm not a big fan of playing 17 lands in the deck. But you have to do what you have to do. Gonna hit. Thankfully, this doesn't really hit us that hard. So I'm not too worried about taking the damage off of it for now. It's just at some point it will upgrade into a 3/3. Now drawing a dino at any point. Ooh, my opponent missed a land. That might be exactly what I need, especially since I've only drawn 3 lands for my draw steps. I was about to say, if I draw any dinosaur, any 3-drop dinosaur here, it's going to be pretty good because I can Savage Stomp my opponent's play. But not being under a lot of pressure and my opponent missing a land might be what I need. What I can do next turn is play Conqueror's Galleon, take whatever damage, and then even flash in, snap and sail back, and crew this if need be, or just block with the sail back. Looks like maybe my opponent's missing another land. That's quite unfortunate for them. Considering they're probably an aggressive deck. Nope, they've got, ooh, red-blue. That's pirate colors. Headstrong Brute, 3/3, has menace as long as you have another pirate. Alright, so here's where we end up taking a couple beats. Alright, there's our 4th land for our draw steps. Just want to point out we've drawn 4 lands. After keeping, what, a 5-land hand? No, a 4-land hand. Not very good, but hopefully this sailback does some work for us. It's going to be a little awkward since our opponent's playing blue. They could have a counter spell. They could have the pirate mana leak. I'm also just taking 4 this turn. So who knows? Alright, we're going to take even more damage. I don't know, sailback might not be enough to get us in there. My opponent has any removal. They have a Sure Strike on top as well. Youch. Oh, and it came down as a 3/3. This is pretty bad for us. Pretty bad for us. We're taking 7 this turn. All we needed was a 2-drop of some sort. 3-drop. I mean, I guess I get to... Yeah, this is just terrible. Because them having that Sure Strike... Are you serious? Have I just drawn 5 lands in a row? I mean, sure. Alright. Well, I can't really... Unless they play like a haste creature here, that'd be pretty fine. Hopefully it's not that stupid 5/5, but... I can flash in sail back. I can't really block one of these 3/3s because of the Sure Strike. Can't actually really block anything, but I can at least crew this and block a creature, and then hopefully use Savage Stomp to make things work. That's assuming they have no interaction at all. How we've drawn nothing but 5 lands is beyond me. Makes for some pretty lousy interaction, especially when our opponent missed a land, but if they have a counterspell, we just basically die on the spot. Next turn, of course. But they have Sure Strike in hand, so I can't... Oh, really? That's interesting. That seems fine by me, actually. Interesting. I mean, they're probably worried about that 5-mana destroy target attacking creature. I guess I will flash in Sailback on their end step. See what they play to follow up, and then use Savage Stomp to take out this Menace guy. Another Headstrong Brute. It's going to be very hard for me to deal with. They also, I mean, if they have Sure Strike in hand, this is still going to be extremely hard for me to come back from. I might still just be dead next turn, unless I draw like another Savage Stomp here. Or okay, whatever. So am I just dead anyway? I can Savage Stomp this. I guess I'm not dead, but look at my hand. This is horrendous. I do get to grow this to a 5/5, but it can't block the 3/3. It can block here. I mean, I'm taking... If they use Sure Strike, I can take, 7 damage. They have any removal spell. I guess I'm still not technically dead because I can block with the Galleon. But I don't even know what I could draw to get myself out of this situation. Yeah, we know about Sure Strike. They're going to opt here. I think we would have had quite a bit of a chance had we drawn anything before turn 4 or 5. I mean, it was a sketchy keep, right? But that's about... that is literally the worst you can draw. It's just 5 lands in a row. I mean, I guess I'm complaining a lot, but we started with Stomp, Snap and Sailback, and Conquerors Galleon in our opening hand, so everything else has been lands. Now I have a flyer to deal with. I'm going down. Yeah, there's just no way I can win this match. I'll see what my draw is here and just play to my outs. All right, chart a course. They get to kind of jam with everything. Not really this hatchling, I guess, although it does turn it into a 3-3. I can't block this guy because of Sure Strike. Chart a course is not currently in their hand. I would just jam with everything if I was them. They're probably fine with this becoming a 3-3. And just so I don't get completely destroyed, I guess that does bump this up if it takes a damage from this thing. So if I'm going to be blocking this, I might as well block with the sailback. Can't block this because of Sure Strike. And, oh no, I have to block a 3-3 or I'm dead. Wow, what a game. That's very unfortunate. How good are these archers? I guess they block the flyer. I guess they do technically kill the 1-1, but we don't really want to kill that. Didn't really see too much from our opponent. Guess if I wanted to bring in things to block the flyer, I could go ahead and bring in an archer plus something else. I mean, I think our draw was awful. This probably comes out on the draw against an aggressive deck. It's probably just not that great altogether. Pounce is a lot better on the play here, so I'll keep it in. Oh, Sunrise Seeker. That's not what I wanted to bring in. I wanted Shine and Aerosaur. And most of these other cards seem like they're going to be pretty decent. I guess I don't need the other Archer, since it technically only kills one creature we saw from our opponent, and it's not a creature we really want to be dealing damage to anyway. Let's see if we can draw a little bit better this time. That was kind of an embarrassing show from the deck, right? This looks much better. We're like a Savage Stomp away from this being very good, or the turn 1 Kanjali guy. This seems really good, though. Nice curve, 2-drop into 3-drop into 4-drop, so we will go ahead and play Branch Walker on turn 2. And either case, either leaving a decent card on top or drawing a land would be nice. I think at this point in the game, I probably just want it to come in with a counter so it can start beating down. All right, Keeper's okay. Means that we're going to be able to keep our pressure on the opponent. I guess hitting a land would be decent here, too. Either mode is fine for us on turn 2, since we could use another land at some point. Okay. I mean, it just drew us a card. 2 mana, 2/1, draw a card's pretty good. If they play anything that dies to Archer besides that little Dragon Hatchling guy, we'll probably use the Archer. If not, we'll go ahead and cast us a Hammer Skull. Jade Guardian in our deck. I think this is literally the only Merfolk in our deck, so it it will be a 3/3 hexproof for 4, which is good with our fight spells. Oh, no red mana from the opponent. Does that mean I'm getting an attack in here for 2? Just a clean attack? That also means my Hammer Skull is going to be quite good. Ooh, okay. Well, we got a sail back. Let's go ahead and jam with our 2/1. Hammer Skull makes it so that if my opponent still doesn't have a play next turn, or even if they do have a play, I should be able to still attack in for 4. I don't think there are any counter spells on 2. They could have that bounce spell. 2 mana, bounce a non-land permanent, scry 2 if it's a 2-drop or a 1-drop, or I guess a 0-drop. But here, like, if they play land, go creature, I do still get to attack because this Hammer Skull gets to just attack straight through them. If it's something that the Archer can pick off, we'll play that and still just attack. And if not, we'll probably just play Ixalan's Keeper. Work our way towards Sailback. So this is looking pretty solid so far. It looks like my opponent does not have red mana. I don't think there are any flash creatures in blue that they can play right now. So I'm pretty happy jamming here. Actually, on 4 mana, I'll play Jade Guardian. I don't know what I was thinking there. All right, we could have a bounce spell. We could have a bunch of different things here, or they could just take 4. They could also be at cancel mana, bounce spell or cancel, or I guess pirates. Well, I don't know what's it called, Pirates Lookout or something like that. Sirens Lookout. 2 and a blue, counter target spell unless its controller pays 3. Okay, so they do have Perilous Voyage. Not bad. They don't get to scry there, so they're just using that to kind of tempo us a little bit. Now, pretty funny question whether I want to replay this Hammer Skull or play the Jade Guardian, because the Hammer Skull does make it so I probably get to attack next turn. Jade Guardian is just harder to interact with. I'm leaning towards just replaying the Hammer Skull because it almost guarantees I'm going to be able to attack into my opponent, whereas they could just drop like a 1/4 or something and then this can't attack anymore. Jade Guardian does do more damage though. Yeah, I'm just going to go with the Jade Guardian. Just harder to interact with. If I hit a fight spell, it's going to be a lot better. Oh, I guess I could have put a counter here. I do have another Merfolk, but I could have gotten in an extra point of damage this turn. But I would think I would rather have my hexproof creature be a 3/3. See if our opponent hits red mana anytime soon. Their deck seems fine. Aggressive red creatures paired up with blue spells. Alright, they do have red mana. So there are a number of different cards they could have here. They could have the hasty guy that explores. They could have, I don't know, any 4-drop in blue or red. Alright, they have the hasty explore guy, which I'm hoping just hits a land, to be honest. So that it's not a 3/3. Cool, it did hit a land. So that means I get to attack in with my 3/3. Could possibly also attack with Branchwalker. Had I played Hammer Skull last turn, I would actually get to just jam here. I think what I'm going to do is play a land. Might just offer the trade, to be honest. This Brick Wall-in is not that great. The less creatures they have, the better my Hammer Skull is going to be. And then probably just keep up Sailback. I could also play like Keeper plus Wayfinder. Offering them this trade. Oh, they don't take the trade. That's surprising, actually. So I'm tempted to play Hammer Skull plus another 2-drop. Make it very difficult for my opponent to do anything here. Sailback. I mean, are they going to fall for the Sailback? I guess they could have Sure Strike. They drew an island last turn. Yeah. Let's go and make this play. This means that they kind of have to answer my Hammer Skull right away. I mean, I guess they don't have to, but my Hammer Skull is threatening to make it so that at least 3 of my creatures are going to get in, assuming they can't just play 2 creatures here. Paying costs. Alright. Chart a course. Ooh, not even attacking, so just draw 2, discard 1. They discarded that island they drew. Chart a course is very good. It is a better Tormented Voice, and sometimes it's a straight-up draw 2 for 2 mana, which is just incredibly good. I would be very happy to have it in pretty much any blue deck. Any number of flyers. Alright, 4/2. Pretty decent. So what I'm going to do is attack, tap down that 4/2, and then they're going to take at least 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage. Alright. Let's see. Does this archer do anything? Not really. Let's go ahead and go to combat. At this point, they're probably going to trade Buccaneers for this Keeper. Tap down your 4/2 so they can't trade off with either of these. And then just keep up Sailback. If not, I could play Wayfinder plus Archer. But I kind of like playing the Sailback here. I don't think my opponent's in a position to be attacking me, since they're going down to 4 this turn. They probably have to trade this off with something. Yep, that makes more sense. That's the better of my creatures that he can actually trade with. And then I'm going to keep up Sailback. Just flash it in on end step. I don't see my opponent killing me with this 4/2. They're going to need probably like 2 creatures here to not die to this Hammer Skull. Alright, Siren Lookout, not bad. Let's see what they hit. They revealed Entrancing Melody. That's a very good card, but not going to help them here. This is a mind control effect. Gain control of target creature with mana cost X. Alright, and is that the game? Yeah, I think that's the game. Because I'm going to lock down one of their dudes, and then I'll have 4 attackers. Alright, so this worked out in our favor much, much more. And this sailback wraps it up. Because they're only going to be able to block 2 of my creatures, and if any 2 of them gets in, that's game. So, assuming I don't mess it up, this ought to be game 3. I won't show my opponent any other cards here. I just got to make sure I do everything correctly. No fight spells that time. I guess this is a fight spell, but this is probably not very good. Alright. Let's go to game 3. I guess, yeah, this archer doesn't actually seem that great. It does block some of the reach guys, or some of the flying guys. It's possible I might just want another 2-drop. I also didn't see a lot of removal from the opponent. Do I have any way to counteract that control magic card, like any bounce spell or anything? Not really. Kind of feel like maybe I just want like a flyer or something. I think I already brought that flyer in though. These archers just doesn't seem good in this matchup. Bring in another Wayfinder, just a solid card. Could also bring in a Daggertooth if I feel like I'm going to be behind this game. Daggertooth's pretty solid. Yeah, I like that. Works with my Savage punches a little bit better. Savage Stomps. Although Wayfinder is a little bit better on its own, I think. Potential to be a 3-mana 3/3, which is just a step above a 3-mana 3/2. How do we feel about this hand? Daggertooth, Daggertooth, Jade Guardian, Ceratops. Yeah, I'll keep. And hopefully we don't get like super aggroed out. I guess my opponent's not really like a hyper aggro deck or anything like that. Blossom Dried, pretty solid. That can get me to Ceratops on turn 5. Or turn 4, I should say. If I draw a Savage Stomp, I might just play Blossom Dried on turn 3 so that on turn 4 I can go Daggertooth plus Stomp. Again, no red mana from the opponent. That or they just don't want to show us red mana right now. I was expecting to see an opt there, but I guess you don't always have the opt. Okay. Alright, we got us a 4/2, which I'll happily trade a creature for. Ooh, that's what I was talking about. Although Savage Stomp, not so great when you're trading the creature off. So I guess I don't really want to take 4 here. I'll go ahead and play a Daggertooth, intending to trade it with Frenzied Raptor. If they use a removal spell, I'm very likely going to gain 2. If they use a bounce spell that's using up a lot of mana for the turn, and then they just attack, I'll go ahead and block with the Ravenous Daggertooth. So I don't feel too bad about it. At most, I'm probably going to take 4 damage. They could play the Hasty guy here. That would be fine. Probably, well, we'll see how this turn goes. Ooh, Tempest Caller. So they are going to get to hit me for 4. This card's very good. This is a nice little combo, though. I can now Savage Punch or Savage Stomp that, gain 2 life, and have it back to trade with this Frenzied Raptor, which I think is exactly what I'm going to do. That also lets me play Blossom Dryad here. So go ahead and stomp this guy. Since this will get a counter, my guy will actually survive. Maybe I'll just want to attack for 4. I am gaining 2 life back here, which is nice. Yeah, I'm going to hit my opponent for 4. Then I'll play another Daggertooth, intending to trade again. But this actually puts me ahead on the race. Tempest Caller is the type of card that if you have a lot of action, you should probably save it as one of the last cards in hand. So it leads me to believe that my opponent just doesn't have a lot of other creatures to play, because it can just end the game on its own in a board stall or in a race. I really want to get this thing off board, so I think I'll just play Daggertooth here. I could just naturally draw a land and cast Spike-tailed Hatchling, or I guess it's Ceratops. But my intentions are still to trade this Daggertooth for this Raptor, and then have my 4/3 left over, but we'll see how it plays out. Entrance and Melody for 3 would be very annoying. And something like Sure Strike here would be fine by me. They might just be going for a raid trigger as well. Okay, so they do have Sure Strike. I do gain 2 life. I get to soak up the damage, and it uses a card from my opponent's hand. So I'm not too disappointed with this. See if they have a follow-up play. Oh, they get to chart a course. That's pretty good follow-up. They just get to draw 2 cards there. I mean, I get to hit them for 4 again. Plains, I guess. Could play Jade Guardian here. Could play Deeproot Warrior plus Blossom Dryad, or I could just play Ceratops. At the very minimum, I know I'm attacking for 4. I guess I like Blossom Dryad plus Warrior because that still gives me a way to trade off this Raptor. I guess I could also play this, but that's going to be a little bit better if I draw some more fight spells. Entrance and Melody, I think, would be the worst thing my opponent could have. For me, of course. Because they could just take my 4/3 and then they've got an army of 4 power creatures to my army of 2 power creatures. I mean, I've got good follow-up plays here. If I draw my 6-drop, I can play it off Blossom Dryad. Double blue, this looks like this might be Entrance and Melody. Nope, Siren Lookout. Again, hoping it just hits a land so that it's a little bit worse. Alright, revealing Headstrong Brute. See what my opponent does with it. Probably keep it on top, I imagine. Depends on how good or bad their hand is. That also means this comes down as a 2/3 flyer. If they attack with Raptor, I'm blocking with Deeproot Warrior. Okay, so they chose to put that card on top. Not bad. I mean, it trades with what I currently have on board. Do you attack with your Raptor? This is their draw next turn. I also don't think they played a land here. Alright, well, drawing a land there is not amazing for us. I think what I'm going to do is serve with the 4/3, offer them the trade with the Raptor. I could block with Deeproot Warrior, or attack with Deeproot Warrior as well. If it gets blocked, it gets +1/+1, so it also trades with anything that blocks it. Rather, they can't block it with this, so might get blown out by something here, but I have follow-up plays, so I'm not too worried about it. Would like to draw just a little bit more action, but we do have a lot of lands in our deck, so it's likely we draw a lot of lands. All right, let's see how the blocks go. And if this all just resolves as it is on board, I'm pretty happy with it. So they go down to 10, I go up to 22. Will play a land, 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess, no, I can't play around that counter spell, so I'll go ahead and play out the more mana-intensive card here. All right, looks like my opponent just straight up doesn't have counter spells, so. They are drawing Headstrong Brute this turn, so we know they have that in hand, plus 3 other cards, and I don't think they're lands. If they have Entrance and Melody in their deck, they probably want to play out all their lands. Alright, attacking me for 2. That's interesting. That means they have something that blocks or destroys my card. Ooh, or they want the raid trigger. At the beginning of your end step, if you attacked with a creature this turn, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. And that triggers on end step. Pretty decent. It's a 4/3 for 4, which is also quite good. They discarded Arcane Adaptation. That's a bizarre card to have in your deck. Guess it turns all your creatures into pirates. Always Diviner's not bad. I mean, I could trade the Ceratops for this thing here. That's probably what I'm going to end up doing. Could attack with everything, and if they block one of the 2/2s, they just straight up take 6 damage, which I don't think they want to do. I think I'm going to lead with Ixalan's Diviner, just get a little bit more information about what's coming up next. Ooh, Hammerskull is definitely staying on top. Yeah, I can attack with Deeproot Warrior at the very minimum. They could take another 2 here and play Jade Guardian. I think I like attacking with everything. I think they just trade for this Ceratops. No, if I were them, I wouldn't trade or attack. I would trade for the Ceratops here and just take 2. Yeah, hopefully they don't have like a trick of some sort. Then we'll go ahead and play out Jade Guardian and put the counter on itself. Don't see much of a reason to put it on this thing. I guess one reason to put it on this warrior is so that it can attack essentially as a 4/4 through these 3/3s. This thing can't block though. I forgot about that. So this is actually not a very good card for my opponent to be holding. So we know they have this plus 3 other cards. Arcane Adaptation is so weird to put in a deck. What does that do for my opponent? I haven't seen a lot of like payoffs for them to be playing this card. Alright, so again, Headstrong Brute cannot block. So that puts my opponent in a pretty awkward position. They have 2 in hand and they're just not playing anything else. So I wonder what those are. I'm drawing Hammer Skull this turn. If I attack with everything, they can block a 2/2 and take 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go down to 2. They could chump this. I think I'm going to be a little conservative here and just attack with the things that can get through their 2/3. I guess I also get to freely attack with this thing. Because if they do have some sort of trick and trade this off, they're taking an extra point of damage. The, like, smart... I don't want to say the smart block because I don't know what they have in hand, but the block that makes the most sense to me is just to block the Diviner, keep your creature around. Because then if this dies, they just have nothing that can block. They know I'm drawing this Hammer Skull. That's got to be a nightmare for them in this situation. So they probably want to keep as many blocking creatures as possible. At least in this case, I still get to keep all my creatures on board. And I guess attacking with Dryads there would have been fine. It would have put my opponent down to 2, and they're still in a pretty bad position. So outside of that 6 mana bounce everything your opponent controls, I don't see my opponent getting out of this situation. 2 cards in hand, they just opted into something. If they have Entrancing Melody, they can take, say, I don't know, Territorial Guy, have 2 blockers, yep, and we still get them that way. Nice. So after a horrifying game 1, we managed to take down match number 1 against an opponent who, I guess, just didn't have cards that matched up very well against what we were doing, and we'll see you in game 2. Hey guys, it's Timothy here. We are playing an Ixalan Draft. Well, this is awkward. Commune with Dinosaurs does make the hand a little more keepable, but 6 lands and no other spells. I'm going to go ahead and mulligan this. This is certainly better, especially with the Explore creatures. I think it's a much better. My opponent also mulliganed down to 6, which makes me feel a little bit better since I have some pseudo card advantage going on. But even with Commune with Dinosaurs, if that hits, I'll keep Stomp on top. This looks a little bit unappealing to us. I might even mulligan just like a 6 land and a good creature. Black deck here. So drawing that Stomp, obviously, we'll go ahead and pass the turn and probably just play out Branch Walker. If my opponent plays a decent attacker, I might just play the Diviner instead. This is pretty good on turn 2. This attacks a little bit better. So we'll see if my opponent has a good 2-drop or not. Doesn't look like it. Blossom Dryad's solid. Not really drawing much to ramp into at this point, but I'll go ahead and play out Branch Walker on account that my opponent didn't really play a creature that can block it. I guess they could Skullduggery it in response. All right, so we drew a land. I don't mind that. At this point in the game, when I'm not under too much pressure, drawing that extra card and filtering through my deck a little bit is pretty nice. Ooh, Grixis. Sailor Means. This card's solid. It means they're going to be able to power out a 5-drop next turn. It's also a 1/4, so I can't attack into it. I kind of like playing Commune with Dinosaurs here. I could also just play Blossom Dryads. Blossom Dryad. I guess I'll just play Blossom Dryad for the turn and see what my opponent does. There are a good number of things my opponent can play next turn, having that treasure token that I can't really attack into, so I'll save Commune until a point where I need to find something specific. Plus, if I draw a 5-drop, then my Blossom Dryad helps me cast that. It's essentially a permanent treasure token. Fell Flagship. Let me reread this card. So, Pirates you control get +1/+0 whenever this deals combat damage to a player. That player discards a card. Alright, well that's pretty strong. It's also, what, crew 3? Yeah, I guess you can attack. I mean, I could double block here, right? Whenever Fell Flagship deals combat damage. I might double block. I don't really need Blossom Dryads at this juncture. If they have any sort of combat trick for 2 mana, it turns out pretty terribly for me. But I don't... The less creatures they have, the less likely they are to be able to crew this stupid thing. Ooh, that could have been bad. Let's see if we get blown out by like a Sure Strike or something. My opponent has access to 2 mana, so they could have a bounce spell, they could have a small pump spell or something along those lines. Uh-oh. Maybe they're just ordering blockers. Oh, they do have something. Oh, they're blinking their own guy. Huh. I guess that draws them a card and it saves their creature. That makes sense to me. I don't really have a Savage Stompable way of dealing with that. So I need a bigger creature. Not quite what I want. So this turn, I think what I'm going to do, since Diviner can potentially block this Fell Flagship, I'm going to go ahead and cast Commune and then cast Ixalan's Diviner. Yeah, that's what I want to do. This flagship is pretty dangerous. Wow, we missed on dinosaurs, which is unfortunate. Jade Guardian would have been a decent draw. The rest of these cards, not so much. I guess the 2/10 would have been pretty good. Oh, but really? I have to do that? Any order. Here, get that out of here. Alright, so, I mean, I guess we ship another land to the bottom too. Let's go ahead and play Diviner. I'm hoping this comes down as a 1/4, to be completely honest. And it reveals just like some really good dino off the top of my deck. It's another Savage Stomp. Do I keep that on top? The stomps aren't really amazing here. My opponent knows about the stomp. That makes it a little worse. I'm going to keep it on top. That also means this comes down as a 1/4, which is what I really wanted. Oh, let's go ahead and untap target land. And play an Ixalan's Keeper. Note that my Savage Stomps are going to cost the full amount since I don't have a dinosaur that they can target. Alright, let's see what the follow-up play from my opponent is. While they're doing that, I will go ahead and grab my charger. Alright, an attack here would be super suspicious. I think I'm fine blocking with the 1/4. Like, they want to use a combat trick to destroy my 1/4, that's fine. The only way this goes like super bad is if they have that creature that destroys a creature that was dealt damage. The Dire Fleet something, or I don't know what it's called. That might be what my opponent has. Oh, they just wanted to get a raid trigger. Ooh, a 3/3. Jeez. Fell Flagship doing some work here. My opponent knows about this stompy thing. I could go fight. My opponent has 4 mana. That could go very badly for me. They don't know about the second Savage Stomp. God, these stomps would be so good if I had a actual attacking creature right now. Also, if I do double fight, this thing does die. Ugh. I guess I'm not really that into what's going on here. I need to draw a dinosaur for these stomps to be very good. Any dinosaur at all would be pretty sweet because it'd let me deal with this 3/3. I think I'm going to wait a turn on that. Not get too hasty. And go and plug in my laptop real quick. Alright, Dire Fleet Hoarder is fine. Does come down as a 3/1, which is pretty solid. When it dies, you get a treasure token. We'll go and take 3 in the air here. The archer wouldn't be bad here. The archer could take out this hoarder and also block this aerialist. I do have 1 in the main board. Ooh, alright, so let's try Hammer Skull plus Fight, and hopefully we don't get completely trashed here by some sort of bounce spell. Let's try this out. Any sort of trick here really gets me. Dang, my opponent has something. Lookout's Dispersal. Counter it unless I pay 4. Well, I can't pay 4, but I do have another Savage Stomp. And I can untap a land here. So I think we're going to try that again. Just getting this flyer off board is pretty good. And then being able to attack with this Hammer Skull is nice, even though it's a lot worse against a vehicle. Oh no, do they have another trick here? Wow, they have something else? Oh, they have another Siren's Ruse. That does make their creature come back in smaller. I don't... Oh, my creature does still get the +1/+1 counter. That's pretty neat. And they draw a card there. Wow, my opponent had 2 tricks. Look at their graveyard. They've just played Pirates and then Pirate-based tricks. Pirate's Prize, that's a good draw for them. They get to draw 2 cards and a treasure token, so they're filling back up on gas. I would not mind the 210 Galleon thing right now. I'm also, if I draw another land, I can use this ability. Attack me for 2. Well, actually, yeah. Alright, let's see if they have any more tricks. I will go ahead and activate, or play that. And what I can do now is attack with my Hammer Skull. I can actually attack with a couple creatures here. They have another trick that's so bad for me. This is actually pretty decent on blocks, so I like attacking with the Branch Walker. This, let's see, if I tap the Sailor, they cannot use that to crew the flagship, so they wouldn't be able to block with both of these things and take out Hammer Skull. They're probably fine with this trade. That's if they want to trade at all. So I think I'm going to tap the Sailor, because if I tap the other thing, they can use that to make the flagship pop up. And I do have this activation available if something happens. They have 3 mana and 2 cards in hand. Very sweet deck from the opponent. Lots of value. 3 of the cards in their graveyard have drawn them at least another card. Alright, so they are crewing with this. That's interesting. I wonder why do that before the tap. Are they going to block the 2/1? I'm going to go for the +5, and I could get blown out here. But if this flagship dies, that's pretty nice. Or they just don't block at all. Oh, okay, they just took 5 then. Sure. I wonder why they did that then. Alright, 3 in hand from the opponent. This ability is a little bit worse when I have no cards in hand. I have 8 mana. I have lots of live draws. I also have lots of bad draws in the form of 10 other lands in my deck. I've already used 2 of my Savage Stomps. Oh no, why do I keep facing down this card? I played against this in my other draft. Alright, they're going to go and take out my only threat on board. Oh, they're going to take this guy out. Guess I'll go ahead and activate it. We'll give this thing. God, that's so annoying. They can also cast it. Maybe that's, well, actually, that doesn't do too much for him. Oh, I guess if I sacrifice this in response, they don't get to cast the card underneath it. So that's pretty good that they don't get to just 2-for-1 me. I mean, they still do, right? Geez, my opponent has just on-theme pirate stuff. Their deck is definitely more synergistic than mine. You can see by that commune missing a dinosaur in the top 5 that I'm not a straight-up dinosaur deck, whereas my opponent has shown me nothing but pirates. Granted, they do have 2 very good pirate payoffs here. Rather, 2 just very good cards. Probably still only attack me for 2. Oh, they want the treasure? Oh, I mean, yeah, they could have the thing that destroys a creature that dealt damage, but I don't see why I would needlessly take this damage. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4. That's almost guaranteed what it's going to be, right? Destroy a creature that was dealt damage this turn. Oh, Marauding Looter. Okay, so they threw away the Hoarder for the Looter, which is pretty good here. It's also a pirate, so it's a 5/3. And they loot away a land. Ooh, we drew another Savage Stomp. So what I can do here is go ahead and I can't stomp this guy. I can stomp Hostage Taker, or I could just take out the flyer and kind of hedge my bets for a little bit. And if I'm stomping the flyer, it's possible I want to use the stomp on something else. Like I could put it here to take out the flyer and then make this a 2/5. I think it's probably just better to put it on the Hammer Skull. In fact, what I can do is go ahead and stomp Hostage Taker. They probably crew this in response, and then I can attack and tap down Sailor of Means, then force them to block with this or just take a bunch of damage. This is a tough turn. Kind of want to get this off the board. Kind of want to get the flagship off the board. If I just attack with Hammer Skull, yeah. Guess this isn't great. I mean, that was a good draw, but let's go ahead and take out Hostage Taker, I think. Yeah. And if they crew in response, that's fine. I do need something like my big 6/6 here to kind of take over the game. Have I used all 3 Savage Stomps? They did not crew in response. So what I'm going to do, well, this has 2 damage on it. Again, I could crew Sailor, or I could crew this, or attack with this, tap Sailor of Means, and then if they don't want to take the damage, they're either going to trade Marauding Looter, which I think I'm fine with that trade, or they're going to trade the Flagship, which is pretty good for me too, because it debuffs all their creatures. So I think I'm fine with this Hammer Skull trading with either of these creatures. They might just take this trade here, because that Flagship is pretty good for them. Or they could just take 4, I suppose. Depends on what they have in their hand, of course. I don't mind doing some double blocks with the creatures I have on board. So, for instance, if they attack with the Looter, it's a 5/3. Ugh. Oh, that's it? That seems strange to me. I'm going to take it. See what their follow-up play is. They have 6 mana and 2 cards in their hand. Hopefully it's not more draw spells. Alright, so a Looter of their own. This one is what? Discard a card, then draw? No, it's draw, then discard. And then they're going to get another raid trigger on end step. So they're filtering through a lot here. I'm out of Savage Stomps too. They discarded another Swamp. Jeez. Kinjali's Collar. Pretty bad here. Pretty bad. Same deal. I could tap this down. They can't really 2-for-1 me there. It's kind of obnoxious. So at this point, if they double block with, say, this and the Flagship, that's not great. If they double block with this plus something else, I get to take out 2 things. So we'll go and tap down the Sailor of Means. Guess we'll play this Kinjali's Collar since I don't want it to be discarded to the Flagship. Alright, making that trade. reasonably happy with that. Now they are at an advantage. My creatures are a little bit on the sucky side, so to speak, and they do have the fly-in threat. Ooh, that's actually not bad here. That does give them a little bit of inevitability on the board. It also just means they're attacking for 3 a turn. The archer would be very good here. The archer would be very good because it could snipe this down and block this aerialist. But we shall see. And they're not going to show us the last card in hand. All right, snapping sailback. That's pretty strong here. That is pretty strong. It's going to demand some sort of multi-block. I think, let's see. They're going to hit me for 3 down to 6. They actually have me on a 2-turn clock, assuming they draw a land, of course. Hit me for 3 down to 6. The turn after they have an 8th land, they can hit me down to 4 and use Blightkeeper to wrap this up. Hopefully they just get a little greedy here and attack with something else. Oh no. Oh no. Hostage taker plus something else. You gotta be kidding me. What a good pirate deck. Told you, this card's good. They just got back 2 very potent threats. Attack with some ground creatures. Nope. They're gonna play smart here. We're gonna flash in this sailback. It might not be worth doing since they do have me dead next turn. Of course, I could draw the archer here and shoot the keeper. Probably gonna play the looter. I can't draw pounce because that's on the bottom of my deck. Yeah, it might... Oh, this costs 1 less, actually, from this guy. So I overpaid. Oh, no, never mind. It got it before I tapped the last land. Alright, so this is a tricky deck to play around here. My opponent's deck seems really good. Heartless Pillage I'm not too worried about. Alright, so that's dead. I don't want to show my opponent anything else, but they do have the writing on the wall with that Blightkeeper. Yeah, they have to have a land, but, you know. We're going to bring in some archers here. Maybe all of them, maybe not. Any way to destroy artifacts. I don't really want Demolish. I don't really want land destruction. This could be really good in a drawn-out game, I suppose. It does take out the flyers, but so do these archers. Hostage Taker is so annoying. I hate that they have that. These are cards I'm considering here. Goring Ceratops. Shining Aerosaur might also be decent. Alright, so Conqueror's Galleon again, just not looking that great. This card seems actually quite bad. Crash the Rampart is probably fine. I probably don't need 4 archers. Branchwalker. I like the 2 drops just to put a little bit of pressure on early. I like all the fight spells. The sailbacks are obviously good. Maybe these I just don't need then. They're just cards I'm considering. Possibly don't need them though. I do like some of the archers, possibly this flyer here too. Even though that's a little bit worse against like Hostage Taker and stuff like that. So maybe just bring in 1 more archer because it would be quite good against them. Not in love with Crash the Ramparts. Does push in some damage, but it's not amazing. It's okay against the bounce spells or the flicker spells because you still get in the trample damage, but I think I just want more ways to kind of deal with the flyers. And what else is not good in my deck here? We drew all 3 Savage Stomps, so my opponent knows I'm stomping for days. Color is such a bad top deck. Such a bad top deck, as evidenced by that last game. Alright, we'll just leave it at 2 archers. Oh no. Wait, that's right. That's right. Alright, 3rd archer in the deck. Let's do it. Play 2 archers in the same turn. Alright, that flagship did quite a bit of work too, so hopefully they don't have that. I don't think I want Demolish for it though. Fine keepable hand. No 2-drops, but we could draw into one. I do like this hand. Plains would be fine. Curious to see what we actually want to play on turn 3. Best draw would just be a 2-drop, of course. If I don't draw a land in the next 3 turns, I might play Wayfinder. If I draw Plains, I will most likely play Hammer Skull. Alright, I'm not too worried about that on turn 1, even though it does account for a little bit of extra damage. It also lets my opponent raid out their 2-drops, like that looter. The little mini looter, not the red blue guy. Also, that thing just dies to the archer here, so take a point of damage off of it, let them raid if they want, and then play it from there. And even if they like flicker this still just blocks it. I think this card's pretty decent. Pretty decent. Alright, I'm still not too worried about this Blightkeeper. It's going to get in a couple points of damage, so I think I'd rather use this turn to get down this Wayfinder or just another beater. Wayfinder has the potential of just drawing me a card here or being a 3/3, so... Alright, cool, it drew me a land. That's actually pretty nice here. I would be fine with it being a 3/3, but since my opponent can't currently block it, that's fine. I do like how my opponents draw perfect mana each game. I think the only thing we saw red for, though, was the 4/3 looter, the one that triggers on end step for raid. Alright, probably going to see something that can block my 2/2s. Maybe not. Ooh, another archer's fine. Not going to see a flash creature here. Could have a removal spell. I'd be fine with them killing either of these. I'm fine with them also taking 4. Let's see. If they have a counter spell, what am I most likely for them to want to counter? Probably just an archer here. I could play Daggertooth. It just keeps attacking into them. They're probably going to want to counter the archer, though. I guess I'll go ahead and get my Daggertooth countered if that's what they have. Looks like it. Alright, I will not pay 4. They probably would have snap countered pretty much anything I could have played there, of course. So attack me down, play a 4-drop. Now what would suck here is if they played something like Mark of the Vampire. Something that makes it so that my archers no longer deal with this keeper. I can still technically attack through a Sailor Means as well. They could very easily have Siren's Ruse, but that doesn't block either of my creatures since they don't have the flagship. So I'm reasonably happy with this. They could have another Lookout's Dispersal. We only saw 1 in Game 1, and I think we saw over half their deck. Let's go ahead and jam with both of these. Let's see if they want to do some sort of trick or they just want to take 2. And then we'll play an archer and snipe down his keeper. This is fine by me. Alright. Archer. I mean, they could use Siren's Ruse on this. That doesn't seem amazing. Fight your keeper. Yes. Could also fight my own creature and kill it. That seems bad. This is weird. A lot of fight spells don't let you fight your own creatures, but this one's been worded so that it can fight your own creatures. I assume to combo with Enrage, even though most of the Enraged creatures are big enough that this just dies to it. 3/4 is a little problematic. I don't mind Commune here. It can either find me white or potentially find me a dino that I can play. It's not amazing. Probably just take Plains if I see it. Ooh, Snap and Sailback, which I can't play. Another Hammer Skull. I think I'm just going to take Plains so that I can play Hammer Skull this turn. I kind of want all of these things, but... There we go. I wonder if my opponent has Beckett Brass in their deck. They might just be splashing red for the Marauding Looter, I think is what it's called. Also, note how easy it is to splash when half of your cards make treasure tokens. So even if my opponent hadn't drawn perfect like Grixis lands on turn 3, they would very likely be able to cast anything in their deck. I mean, who knows? They could be playing like a triple white card here. 5 Deadeye Plunderers. This one's pretty good. Wow, a 6/6. That's very good. Gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. Alright, Savage Stomp was a good draw. What I can do here is play Archer. I mean, they have 3 mana available, so this could go very poorly. They showed us 2 Siren's Ruses. But what I like here is I can play Archer to shoot this for 1, and then Savage Stomp it to try and kill it off. That goes wrong a bunch of different ways, obviously. I could also just play this 4/4, let him attack for 6. Kind of like playing this guy out. I'm going to go for the first play, and if they have a Siren's Ruse, they have it, right? This guy does go pretty poorly if they actually do have it, though. This also makes a treasure token, so this guy's going to get real big, even though it's already big enough to the point where I can't just fight through it. I've got to assume they have something in hand, so maybe I'll just play Ceratops here. Hopefully they tap a little bit more mana. If they have a counter spell, I can't do anything about it, but at least that uses some of their treasure. The more treasure they use, the smaller this thing gets. They might be debating whether or not to interact with this by using their treasure and shrinking down their Plunderer. I don't know. Savage Stomp's also pretty good on this Ceratops. So that means I can just go for the Stomp on that rather than play the Archer and do all that other nonsense. I would feel a little bit better about this if they didn't have 3 cards in hand, because if I try to go fight, Stomp, or something like that, and they have one of those Siren's Ruses, it does kind of outplay me. But my opponent's deck has better late game than I do. Guess I can play this Dreadmaw next turn. Ooh, they got the Flagship. So, geez, 8/7. Because it's an artifact, it gets another +1. This card is pretty bad for me. I think I have a single card in my deck that can actually even deal with that. No? Ooh, double Stomp. Yeah, let's go for Stomp here. And if they blink it, I could potentially just Stomp it again. Like, I imagine I'm going to see a Siren's Ruse. Oh, no, that just happened. So what happens if I attack with everything? Tap this down. They use it to crew Flagship, probably block the Hammer Skull, and then I can play Archer afterwards and kill off the Flagship. That seems okay. They have 2 cards in hand, and I don't think they have the Blinky spell. Also, I can't really attack with everything, can I? Do I want to trade this for Sailor of Means? Not really. Some of these other creatures aren't doing very much either. They just get a freely eat this. This looks like a very suspicious attack, right? So I think I do kind of want to get this Flagship off board. Could offer them to trade their Sailor of Means for the Ceratops. That doesn't seem terrible. Like, what if I do this? Tap this down, they crew the Flagship, they eat one of these guys, they eat Territorial guy, I hit for, I hit for 5, 6, 7, 8. Or I tap this thing down, they crew in response, they block this, that's a trade. They block this, they take 5 here down to 7, and then I get to shoot off their creature with the Archer. I kind of like that. I could also tap Sailor of Means and leave this as their only really profitable creature on the board. Alright, so question, what do I tap? Might be right to tap Sailor of Means and then try to like Savage Stomp that, but I think I'm going to go for this. Try to get this Flagship off board. Although the Hammer Skull dying also means that this is not going to be great, actually. I probably want to keep this on board. Imagine Sailor eats this guy, and then Flagship eats Hammer Skull. That's fine by me. Alright, let's play this thing. Oh no, I don't actually have a target for Savage Stomp anymore. Let's hope this happens then. Alright, that's pretty decent. Now I'm staring down a ugly, gigantic creature. I have another Stomp, but it's not going to be good on this. It will be good on their other creatures, assuming they don't draw something like Hostage Taker or something like that. Something that just straight up 2-for-1s me. Oh no! Ugh. March of the Drowned. So they're going to get a bunch more treasure tokens. I need to draw more mana so I can play this Dreadmaw. I wonder if they want to play Sailor of Means here. They probably don't need to. Ooh, they attack? Oh, that means they're probably going to play Sailor of Means then. Because they're going to use up some of these treasures. So this will actually be a 7/7. Yeah, that makes sense. Just another blocker is good for them. I'm almost in chump block mode. Jeez, that's not a great draw here. Like I said, I'm almost in chump block mode. I can get in 2 damage here, but that's not very good. I can't stomp anything. In fact, the stomp's pretty bad on this board. It's pretty bad. I'm not loving my position here. I think I'm going to lose this one. I'm going to take a hit off this. No, actually, I can't take a hit because they could activate it twice. They have the potential to make it a 9/9. So I'm actually chumping. That's so bad. They play a card. Oh, they played a land. Yeah, so they could potentially double activate. Youch. They are on double activations for this. Not that that really matters. It's already lethal enough. Oh, they activated now? That's weird. All right. Well, here's my potential out to win in this game. Uh, they're gonna make another treasure on end step. I gotta hope they just have nothing for this and that I can get a clean attack in with it somehow. No, 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 not hostage taker. Oh, contract killing? Are you kidding me? Oh. Oh my gosh. Plus it bumps this up to a 10/10. I mean, it was already lethal as is. Uh, Chump. There's still a potential avenue to win here. Maybe Hammer Skull can do it for me. Oh, and you have something else to play? No! My opponent's drawn so well. I guess. I have 2. They've got ahead of me with this guy. I can't do anything about it. 1, 2, 3. Nope. Just keep jumping. Don't draw me a land. That 6/6 was what I needed. Graveyard. I can Savage Stomp to kill this thing. Yeah, I think I need to get to a position where I can draw Hammer Skull. Oh, I put the other Hammer Skull on the bottom, didn't I? So what can I even draw here? I don't have any flyers. My opponent's at the point where they can start attacking with Prosperous Pirates too. They can just attack with a bunch of things. They're going to be conservative and just abyss me every turn, right? Well, this is probably the least useful of my creatures. Did you draw something else too? You did? Okay. Yep. I think we're going to lose this one, boys. Felt good about it, but this guy's just so big. Why is my opponent doing that on their turn? That's so weird. Ah, they had to have a removal spell too. Mountain. Okay. Nope. I got no way to win this game at this point. I can't even Savage Stomp any of these creatures, so I think I'm just going to give this to my opponent at this point. I can't draw the Hammer Skull. I have no removal spells for this 10-10, no Pious Interdictions or anything like that, so I'm going to call this one and give it to my opponent because it's kind of just at the point where they're just completely crushing us. So, good game. I'll see you guys in round 3. Guess I'll go ahead and give them the GG since they creamed us there. I was feeling good about it, but they answered our one potential avenue to win that game. I don't foresee Ixalan's keeper really winning this here, so let's let's go for the savage play of attacking. That's not even enough, is it? It's not even enough. Well, give it one more turn here. Because if I sack this, yeah, that's fine. Wow, really? Really? Two things? I would have to tap this and also sack this, so I have no blockers. All right, good game. Ease. This guy's good. All right, see y'all in game 3. All right, guys, we're here for game 3. Unfortunately, we've been on the draw all 3 games, or all 3 matches. We're playing against Ugly Obese Gamer. Don't be so hard on yourself. We lost to a pretty savage deck in the last round, just what I imagine is a very good pirate deck. They 2-for-1 us quite a bit. They had some pretty good rares, and then they played that just a gigantic creature that was bigger than anything we could play. And showing the fault with having fight spells as your only removal is that you just don't have answers to cards like that. Um, I have no way to deal with like an 8/8 or anything like that. I did draw the Trampler. The Trampler possibly could have gotten me there, especially with the Savage Stomp. But unfortunately, my opponent had a removal spell for my Trampler, so we lost that match. Here, my opponent is taking a hot minute to decide whether to keep their hand or not, or I guess to decide whether to play first. They might just not even be present. Oh, they're present. Slow hand. 2 5 drops and 3 drop I can't cast. This is very sketch. This is very similar to the hand that I kept in game 1. Although if I draw lands, it's a little bit better this time around. So hoping to hit either a plains or a 2-drop off the top. Not really a 4-drop. I guess that's something I can play before turn 5 if this Hammer Skull doesn't work out. Alright, see if my opponent has a 2-drop. They do. It is a 2/2 that gets +1/+1 when it's blocked. I drew the same creature, which unfortunately means I can't really block theirs. It does mean I'm only taking 2. This doesn't hit you for 3. It just attacks as a 3/3 when it becomes blocked. So I will go ahead and take the hit here. And see what they can follow up with. Plains would be the best draw here. Plains would be good draw. But yeah, Archer's not bad. I'm going to go ahead and attack my opponent back and then play the Archer. And I'll just choose to not have it fight. I don't see the benefit for that. Since it's not going to kill anything, we might as well just not even have it fight. That way they can't use, like, I don't know, some removal spell, some 2 or 3 damage thing to take this out. Looks like they're thinking about something. It's weird that they didn't do anything on turn 3. Their hand might just be like mine, where they have a bunch of top-end cards. Probably going to play Jade Guardian next turn and just put the counter on itself. I will block here. It's kind of a free attack for my opponent. They want to use a trick. I'm fine with it. I'm not too attached to my 1/4 reach. One good card they could have is River Herald's Boon, because that'll bump this up. And it might just be a chumpy attack. They could also have like an Archer of their own or something to go and deal the last point of damage here. Who knows? Brazen Whiptail. That actually didn't come back. I think this card is quite good. It's way better than Giant Spider at the cost of being double green. Interesting play here as to what I want to play. Can't attack with the Deep Root Warrior. I can actually if I put the Jade counter or Jade Guardian counter on it, then it can attack straight through this thing. But then this is a 2/2, and being a 3/3 is just a little bit better. I can block. I can't block too profitably. Kind of like being the aggressor here. Yeah, I kind of like this. This lets me attack with Deep Root Warrior this turn. They can't really block it. Could also keep it back, but that's bad. It does make my Jade Guardian a little bit worse, though. But at least my Archer can block this thing, and if I don't block this thing, I'm only taking 2 damage on the crackback. Fight spell from the opponent would be pretty back-breaking. Drawing a land would give me access to either of these 5 drops, with Sailback being the obvious better one. Also, the green-red decks aren't going to have a lot of tricks to deal with this at instant speed, mid-combat. They will have combat tricks, but outside of that, this card should be able to gobble something up. Maybe. I guess green-red does rely on combat tricks, so they could very easily have the +3/+3 and trample, or a sure strike, or I don't know, a number of other things. If they attack and don't do anything pre-combat, I'll just block Archer on anything that attacks. New Horizons. All right. Well, that does let them attack with 1 creature at least. Also gives them an additional mana this turn. So this is like Gift of Paradise, except instead of 3 life, you get a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control. Deer and Two-Headed Giant, I played a deck with 3 of these. Splashing Burning Sun's Avatar, and also playing the triple white mythic rare dinosaur thing. Alright, so they're going to attack back. I'm going to have to just take 3. I wonder if they have anything else to play here, though. It is good that if I don't hit a land, I can play like Wayfinder or Hammerskull if I draw planes. They do have a 2-drop? Oh, no. Ugh, that had to be a fight spell, didn't it? Alright. Daggertooth. Not great against this. Guess I could double block it. Probably just play Wayfinder. If they're going to have 4 in hand, they're going to be able to combat trick me out, so guess I'll play Wayfinder and hope to hit a land. That doesn't really let me do anything else this turn, though. Daggertooth plus this can block here. Opponent can't take out both things. It's a little tricky. I'll go and play the Wayfinder. I think it's more valuable to potentially hit a land here. Using Pounce as just a prey upon there. These fight spells are so much better when you're on the play, because your opponent's more likely to be tapped out in that case. As is the case here. Alright, well, we hit the plains. That's not bad. Also note that Sailback's not very good against this thing at the moment. It does trade with it, but Sailback's real power is in being able to come down, eat a creature, and survive, become bigger. Opponent has 6 mana. If they just play like Burning Sun's Avatar, I'm going to be pretty boned. Also, can't really rely on knowing what my opponent's playing if they have this, because it can tap for 2 of anything. Here comes a 6-drop, or a 5-drop. Regisaur Alpha. Of course, they have one of the best cards in the set. Card is absurd. It is actually just one of the best cards in the set. We can still potentially beat it. It's just going to be very hard. It also makes all of their other dinosaurs come down with haste, so it is what it is. If they attack with a single creature, I am most certainly double blocking it. Guess what I can do is double block this thing. Doubt they have a 1 green spell, so we go block, block, and then this thing just chumps here and I take 3. Or it doesn't chump, but survives. I only take 3 this way. I do clear off their 3/4. I'm left with 2 creatures on board that aren't amazing. Play Ceratops here. Ceratops can block 2 creatures. Set up a pretty good turn. Ooh, Pounce is actually pretty decent. What can I do with Pounce? Nothing? Nothing, you say? Alright, so here are my options. I can play Sailback at instant speed, hope to hit this 3/3, and hope that they just have absolutely nothing with their 3 cards in hand. That would be pretty good for me. I can go ahead and play Daggertooth. I could just play Ceratops. Ceratops can go like block, block. Then I can do some double blocks. I think I like the Sailback most because of how well it works with Pounce. Although, these blocks are pretty bad. Yeah, these blocks are horrendous. Kind of like Ceratops too. Stabilizes a little bit harder. Can help just block this. Potentially soak up some extra damage. And then use the Sailback the following turn. This does leave me completely open to pretty much anything my opponent wants to do. What if I just play Daggertooth and I go like double block here? And if they want to use a spell, I can pounce in response to take this out or take this out. Maybe that's what I do. Yeah. Alright. I've convinced myself because Daggertooth does double block with this archer pretty well, enough so that it can take out anything here and only threaten to trade just the Daggertooth with that creature. Again, if my opponent has anything at all, some fight spell, this goes very poorly because they do have the Regisaur. They're just snapping something right here. Hopefully it's not a Savage Stomp. It's a Vine Shaper Mystic. It's going to come down and put a counter here. Do I care too much about that? Probably do. Do I care enough that I'm going to pounce it? Probably not. It's also a 2/4 that makes this into a 4/4 that blocks as a 5/5, or attacks as a 5/5, essentially. Alright, things are still a little dicey here. Alright, so this is what we set up to do, right? So this can actually go, I could go like here, here, take 7 down to 5. I could also just trade Daggertooth with this thing. Pounce is not amazing here. I could also block here and, well, let me go ahead and take these back for a second. I can block like this and just straight up 2-for-1 myself on the alpha and then block this, but they're left with 3 creatures. I could also block here and try to take their creature out, their biggest one, and take 4, which is the same result either way. And if they try to do something in response, I can always pounce this on, I don't know, something else. I think I'm going to do this because this does actually threaten me the most, since these are essentially the same. Assume they have no other dinosaurs, of course. And then we'll see if they have any responses. This is a straight 2-for-1. I'm going to gain 2 life here. But my hand's still pretty good against what they have if I get this guy off board. Just the Ceratops can't block this thing because of the +1 trigger. Really? You have something? Come on, dude. Oh, they're going to pounce that guy on this guy. So what I do now is I think I don't have a way to kill this. So I'm going to have to pounce in response and take advantage of the fact that they're doing this. The only thing I can kill with pounce... Oh, I guess actually I can hit this, and then it still dies this turn. So that's pretty good. This ends with the same result, except me and my opponent are both 1 pounce shorter. I get to deal 3 here. Yeah, and then this still ends with the same result, except our pounces are just both gone. I actually like that my opponent used a pounce there. Pretty nice. So what's going to happen is their pounce will do nothing. My pounce will basically make this hit this. I'll gain 2 life. I'll be at 10 after this exchange, and I'll be down to just an archer versus these 3 creatures. But a pretty decent hand against what they have, assuming they don't have any more ridiculous fight spells or anything. So, not in a bad position, not in a great position either. I don't mind getting this thing off board. That did quite a bit of work as a 2-drop. This Regisaur Alpha is so annoying. Conqueror's Galleon. Yep, this card actually just seems bad if you're against aggro decks. I think I'm just going to pass with Sailback here and just try to hedge my bets as much as possible. And my opponent has a big dinosaur that can come down. That's pretty bad for me because it'll have haste. But if I can get this Sailback to just eat a creature here, take 4 from this, and maybe just like block something else, then I'm feeling quite fine about my position. The alternative would be to play the Ceratops, but if they have a removal spell or a fight spell, the Ceratops is just, going to die anyway. Uh-oh. They're playing something. Looks like a hasty creature. Oh, another Vine Shaper Mystic. All right, so you're making a 3/5. Jeez. The Merfolk Dinosaur team up. I think this card is quite solid. I mean, a 3-mana 2/4 is already pretty good. And then a 3-mana 2/4 that can dump a counter on another Merfolk is very good. It does look like my Sailback's going to be able to eat something here, which I'm quite happy about. So they attack with everything that can. Take the hit from the Regisaur, block the other 2. And hopefully they are out of pounces. And Sailback could definitely help me get back in this game. We have 3 mana up and 1 in hand. So this blocks here, this blocks here. Take 4. And that grows my Sailback. Now if I draw any Savage Stomps, it's going to be very good for me. Oh man, you still have something to play. Maybe just another creature? Deep Root Warrior. Okay. Alright, Ceratops should be decent here. Conqueror's Galleon's actually not even awful, but I like the Ceratops. And now we're playing a game to see who can hit their fight spells first. But Ceratops blocks pretty well on this board. All my creatures block very well. Note that my opponents also, it looks like they drew a spell here. 5. Ooh, they drew a 4/6, which is solid. I'm going to go ahead and play my Galleon, I think. Assuming I don't hit anything. Guess I can play both things, right? The Galleon does basically block whatever I need it to. Although I'd have to tap down some of my other creatures. All right, so we're on a pretty stable board. My opponent has the upper hand as far as the cards that they have on board. I have the upper hand in that I'm going to draw less lands than my opponent, which is supposed to be the case. My opponent's drawn 5 lands out of 24 cards. I've drawn 7, so we both still have quite a few lands here. But nobody really has a position where they can start attacking. Ooh, Savage Stomp is perfect. So what is the best thing to stomp here? Don't care about this. It's got to be just the Regisaur Alpha, right? It's got to be the Alpha. They have nothing they can do about it. I guess they can crew in response, right? Yeah, let's go ahead and smash the Alpha here. That'll actually make my guy a 6/6. Actually, a 7/7 because of the Enrage trigger. And I don't think I'm in a position where I can actually attack with this. Not to mention they could probably actually just kill it too. Can I attack at all? Not really. They can actually just trade Sailback for 1. So what I'm hoping is I draw more Savage Stomps before my opponent draws more action. Man, they are just top decking creatures left and right. Their last 3 draws were this, this, and this. I guess I'm drawing well too, but... Alright. I think this time I want to spread the damage out a little bit. So what's the next biggest thing to deal with? this 3/5. Do I care about anything else? Not really. So I kind of like, well, I mean, 9/9 is huge. That makes this a 5/5. Um, I'm complaining about my opponent's top decks, but I'm over here top decking removal spells for their big things. Let's go ahead and put the counter there. Don't want to put all my eggs in one basket, right? Alright, now what happens if I crew this and attack? I tap down, say, the Sailback. Starts drawing me cards. I guess it would be tap. No, it exiles. But then I have this tap down for the turn. They can go attack with everything. I can block a couple things. I don't think I'm at the point where I want to do that yet. I don't have particularly great blocks either. I mean, I guess this can go like block, block, or something like that, or block, block, chomp. Yeah, I'm not into using this yet. Maybe if I draw another smaller creature. I mean, I'm still at the position. My opponent's got to have like a very large percentage of hit and lands, right? I still do too. Yeah, hit a land. How's it feel? All right, I need like one more spell or one more creature on board before I feel like I'm in a position where I can actually flip this or transform this. Although it is quite good right now. Just don't want to die on the crackback to something stupid. So let's think about this for a second. If I use, let's say, Ceratops to crew this, I attack with it, it's going to transform. They have 4. Yeah, they can't kill it. 3, 7, 8, 9, 10. Actually, they could kill it. They could kill it because they can crew here. They have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 damage on it. That's kind of crazy. Oh, but Hammer Skull can attack? Nope, we'll keep biding our time. One more fight spell should do it to the point where I can start attacking. Guess I could attack with Sailback too. But then they go block, block on my 7/7. Alright, I just need to draw better than them, I guess. More creatures or more of anything, really. This does have to survive combat, right? Yep. So awkward. Alright, they drew a land. Like I said, they have a large concentration of lands. Yeah, that's a creature. Now, the thing is, if I do attack with Conqueror's Galleon, I do actually at least get to eat one of these things. They're going to want to get this off board, otherwise it's pretty devastating. So I can go, like, tap, tap, crew this, keep, essentially 4 blockers back, because this can block 2 things, attack, and then they can crew this and block with pretty much everything. I can assign the damage to one of the 2 toughness creatures, which just gets another blocker off board. So I think I actually like doing that this turn. And worst case scenario, they don't do anything. They let it flip. They might be scared of a removal spell. I mean, they literally have to put everything on it for it to die, including this. Actually, let's see. Tap 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, they can do that if they're not afraid of a removal spell. And if this exiles, I get to just start drawing cards or returning target card. Yeah, they can't let that transform. So I shall say go. Ooh, actually, it might have been better to tap something else so that Hammer Skull could tap something, and then they wouldn't have the option of killing it. Right now, I'm offering them a trade of the Galleon for, say, like Deeproot Warrior or Ravenous Daggertooth. So my opponent's probably going to do the math here, and if I were them, I would just block with everything. Enter the effects arena. Oh, that's when it attacks? Okay. Here's the effects arena. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, are they just gonna chomp? Oh, they figured it out. I thought for a second there I was gonna get away with something dirty. Imagine if I had a pounce here. All right, we want to take out, I guess, obviously Dagger Tooth, right? And then deal no damage to the rest. Yeah, it might have been right to attack with this thing so I could guarantee a transform. Because then I get to just start giving back Savage Stomps and kill them. I'm still pretty ahead on board. I'm probably at the point where I can start attacking with my 7/7. Oh, they drew something. Jade Guardian. Wonder if that puts a counter here, actually. Might just put a counter on itself. All right. Pretty solid. Wow, what a game. If I attack with this, they still go block, block, and just eat it. So, I mean, I could... Nope, I can't attack with that because of this thing. Oi! Alright. Get some F6 action in there. Flyer? Do I have that flyer in my main board? No. Could attack with this if I get another counter on it somehow. We're just biding our time. Yeah, this would have been so good. I should have just done that. Crude with something else, taken my hit back, and then use this to tap a creature down. That would have shut off their option. They could have eaten Hammer Skull, but then I get to just get back a Savage Stomp every single turn of the game and cast it. This Legion Dreadnought's very annoying. Wow, really? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 lands. I have 6 left in the deck. My opponent's drawn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. My 6/6 Trampler would be fine here. The +5 or the 2-drop that gives +5/+5 and trample would be decent. This thing is not so great. I guess if it draws me a land, that's better than just drawing a land for the turn. I do like that. That's going to mean my opponent's going to have to do some extra work to get through my creatures. So let's see. Next turn, I attack with this and this. But then they can just block there. What happens if I just attack with this thing? All right, what happens if I attack with Sailback here? I have the potential to make it a 10/10. They're well aware of that. So they can go block, block. That's not enough to kill this, so they would have to block with one more thing. So they can go block, block, block. Or I can go goodbye, goodbye, or I can go goodbye, goodbye. And then it's my 5/5 and a bunch of guys staring down the creatures they have left on board. As weird as it sounds, I'm still going to wait here. I'm still going to wait. Because I still have good top decks in this situation, right? I still have 2 more fight spells in my deck. No, that's not true. I used a pound. So I have 1 more Savage Stomp. I have the little 2-drop that gives +5/+5. Of course, I am giving my opponent infinite time to do a bunch more things here. I'm also going to deck before them, so... Oh my god, seriously. I think I might need to offer them that trade on principle now. So, block, block. At any rate, I get to take out 2 pretty big things, I think. I go block, 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 upgrade that to a 3/3. As long as I get this out of the way, that's pretty fine, right? Be a little bit more proactive here. I guess my top decks are still going to be good in whatever position they're in. I guess I could have also... No, attacking with that's pretty bad because they just get to eat this thing. Alright, let's see what my opponent does. Block with a bunch of things. That's fine. Do I do this and get in, what, 9 damage? Put my opponent down to 8? I don't think so. This also bumps this up to an 8/8, but makes his creature better. Maybe I want to get in that damage while I can. I'm running out of time, too. 10/10. That makes my guy an 8/8 regardless. I like getting in this damage while I can. Well, I'm guaranteed to make sure my opponent just takes 9 here. Yeah, they get to upgrade their creature. I guess they have pretty good attacks back on me right now. Yeah, most of their creatures outclass most of mine. In fact, every single thing they have besides this Jade Guardian attacks as a 3-power creature. So we might be in a little bit of trouble. I can block most of these things. Maybe probably should have kept this as a defensive spell. Oh, okay. I mean, that's fine. That's not great for me, but it's fine. Crew this guy. Okay. Let's see what the attack looks like. Uh-oh. I wonder if they think this must be blocked by everything. I don't think I'm dead here. Don't think I'm dead here. Let's just do some potential blocks. I do have to soak up 6 damage. Maybe I'm dead. Maybe I'm dead because of trample. Just doing some theoreticals here. And then this goes here, and this also blocks here. And then this blocks, say, I don't know, here. This has me taking, oh, this thing's not attacking. So I mean, if this gets through, I win. They don't have any other way to crew this. This has me taken, I don't think I'll take trample damage there. Well, I'll take 1 trample damage plus 4 here, go down to 1. They have no cards left in hand, and I just hit them back. This is right? This isn't attacking. Everything's blocked. The only thing that tramples is this, and I should only take 1 trample damage there. Is that right with the thing double blocking something? What if I just... Because I'm not sure how that works with the blocking and trample damage. So what if I actually just do this, take this back, let this block here. This would have me taking just straight up 3 trample damage plus 2 more. That would put me at 1 definitely, and I still have this sail back. Because I don't know how that works, if they can assign damage on the other one and assign less damage here. That's a little bit goofy. So this should have me taking only 5 damage, going down to 1. And then I just swing back and kill him. Yeah, I wonder if my opponent thought that emergent growth meant I had to block everything. I do not. Alright, so interesting. I think that was just a mistake on my opponent's behalf. Alright, Ceratops actually... Well, Ceratops seems worse when they have a bunch of fight spells. What do we do about the fight spells? That's the problem, right? Just bring in more stuff. The flyer, they had nothing to deal with the flyer. So I do like, what's it called? Shine and Aerosaur. I like this quite a bit. They've got a lot of those merfolk things. I kind of like Verdant Rebirth too, as a way to kind of hedge our bets against some of the stuff they're doing. Archer didn't seem amazing. It doesn't block their reach creatures, even though it does block their creatures pretty well. Also not a fan of this color. Just not a fan of it in general. Crash the Rampart's probably pretty bad against them. I don't know. Archer just didn't seem great. This Galleon actually seems pretty bad against them, even though it worked out in that case. So I think I'll make those cuts, bring in a flyer and a way to kind of get a creature back in case they get a huge push on me. Was that all game one? That might have all been game one. I can't remember. Or no, that was game two, right? Is this game two? Oh my gosh. If that was a game one, we might be in trouble. They have Regisaur Alpha. I like this hand, Commune. It doesn't really do much else, but if I hit a Plains or just another... This only hits dinosaurs. We're really hoping to hit a Plains, but I'm going to keep this hand. The Jade Guardian ought to be good. Ceratops ought to be fine. As long as they don't Regisaur Alpha us into other dinosaurs, we should be fine. It looks like they had more Merfolk's energies than actual dinosaurs. They just happen to have that Regisaur Alpha, which is pretty good. So we'll keep this hand. Hope to draw a 2-drop again, but Commune might find us something here. If it doesn't find us a dinosaur, I'd be pretty happy with a Plains, I think. Casting it on turn 1 no matter what. Alright, there's a 6-drop. Alright, hit me a Plains at the minimum. Yeah, what's this? Ravenous Daggertooth? No, I think I just want the Plains here. Note that we're putting one of our Savage Stomps on the bottom. They probably very likely have a 2-drop here. I could draw one of my own, but I get to go 3-drop, 4-drop, 5-drop, 6-drop. It's just a good curve. Even though looks like I'm going to take a little bit of a beating up to that point. Probably 4 damage at minimum from this thing. It's about to say the 0-3 Explore guy would be pretty good. Hopefully they don't curve into a Vine Shaper Mystic. That would be pretty brutal. Looks like that's what's happening. Alright, sick curve from the opponent. Sick curve. If they have a Pounce, like, there's almost no way I can win this game. Because I'm going to go... I mean, I still have a good curve, but... they're going to get ahead of me quite a bit. Alright, Aerosaur's not bad. So, like, they just go Pounce here, attack for 5. I play another 3-3 that can't even block. They go, like, attack for 3. Pretty brutal, right? I will block this thing. And it's just kind of a free attack. Play Jade Guardian, see what their follow-up play is. Geez, 3-drop, 4-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop. This is the difference about being on the play than the draw. My cards should be good against them if I can deploy them. Unfortunately, they're a little bit below curve. Jade Guardian, not amazing. I don't see a reason to attack here. I might want to double block. Youch. Alright, no alpha. Great. I might double block this Vine Shaper here. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. Could block here, but any Pounce here just kind of gets me. This is the one block that makes Pounce a little bit worse for them, I think. Yeah, because I do want to keep my Jade Guardian on board. This does still have me going down to 8, and they're probably going to play something else too. Ceratops is decent here. Oh my god. That doesn't get blocked very well. Verdant Rebirth. No time to cast that. Huh. Why did... Oh. Oh, both my creatures survived. I forgot about that. It's not bad for me. Ceratops is actually pretty good. If they crew and Pounce, that's pretty bad for me. Because this can just take this thing out. Also, I can't profitably double block the Dreadnought. 2 in hand from them, though. Next turn, I get to play a 6/6 Trampler. Alright, Branch Walker. 1 card left in their hand. Alright, they drew a land. Kind of happy to see that. That means this creature's a little weaker. Probably going to crew it up here. Yep, I'll almost certainly offer some sort of trades here. Curious to see what the attacks look like first, though. Alright, so what happens if I triple block and they pounce like this thing? Then I die? I could do just this, and then they can pounce this. My guy still dies. Uh, could also just do this, and then I don't get completely destroyed. Here they can take out one of my things. Yeah, I'm just going to operate under the assumption they don't have anything with their 2 cards in hand, and if they do, so be it. I don't mind trading my 5-drop for this thing when I have this 6/6 coming down. Alright, I think that went pretty well for me. Alright, hatchling I'm not too worried about. Let's go and deploy this 6/6. I think that's going to be hard for my opponent to deal with. Because Pounce doesn't quite do it, and you've already seen these red-green decks can have a little bit of trouble taking out some of these bigger creatures. Plus, next turn I get to go Aerosaur and hold up Verdant Rebirth, which I might just end up cycling. Alright, opponent's empty-handed. We just need to hit some creatures or some punches, I think. Stomps. Right now, our creatures are actually outclassing theirs, but we're not at a position where we can attack due to how much damage we've already taken. So we'll hold up Verdant Rebirth. And it's likely I probably just want to draw a card with this, but I think I'm going to hold it for now. Stomps. Ooh, Archer, what does that do? Ooh, that kills this guy. That's pretty decent. 1, 2, 3. Play it. Fight off this thing. Trying to play fast here. Yes, I would like to use the ability. If I attack, they can trade one thing for this. So I'm just going to attack with the flyer. And this Hammer Skull ought to be good at some point in making sure that they have to double block and trade 2 creatures for my guy. And then I can just Verdant Rebirth it. Oh yeah, they have a... duh. I forgot they had a reach creature. Well, that was pretty bad. Thankfully, it didn't really kill us, but... I guess it would have been better to make that attack and then play the Archer and then ping this thing off, because they probably would have blocked no matter what. But that was just me not thinking there. We're like 1 fight spell away from really wrapping things up here, I think. We've drawn 0 of the fight spells so far. I think we put Pounce on the bottom. I don't want to F6 because of this Verdant Rebirth. No matter what they attack with, I'm going to block with this. Alright, so they just say, sure. We drew Forest. I'm going to play these because of that 8-drop guy. Just no great attacks here. I don't want to attack with the Hammer Skull, because they can just eat that. If I draw a punch, I can punch something. Uh-oh, what is this? Verdant Sun's Avatar. Well, that's going to make it hard to win this game. They're going to gain a ton of life. So I need to find a way to just punch this Whiptail. Alright, let's get a Stomp. Let's get a Stomp. Branch Walker. I'll play it. Pounce is going to stay on top, certainly. Then question is, do I pounce the thing that gains them life, or do I pounce the thing that blocks the flyer? Because I don't think they're going to have a way to deal with this flyer here. And if they do, I have a Verdant Rebirth to draw it. They don't have good attacks on me. I have 5 minutes to fight through a butt ton of life, because this thing... One thing I can do here is if they play something that's going to threaten me, I can actually Verdant Rebirth, draw the Pounce, and then pounce off this Verdant Sun's Avatar. But I think I can race the life gain if I get to a point where I can start attacking. I think I want to pounce off the Reach guy. Even though getting rid of this does seem appealing. Could also pounce this. No, I don't want them to trade Raptor Hatchling. This is a good game. I'm at 5 minutes, and I think this is only game 2. That's kind of the awkward part. Uh-oh. 1, 2, 3, 4. Emergent growth, that thing must be blocked. Seems okay with me. It's me a 6/6 trample. I can just... that's tough. Gonna gain some life here. Kind of like the idea of blocking with this, pouncing it, using... Oh, no, I'd have to draw pounce. Do I want to... Alright, so here's what I'm gonna do. I think I am going to block here. Go and use this on my guy. Draw the pounce and use pounce to kill off the reach guy. This lets me... I do take 3 damage this way. Could also just take out the 5/5. Take out the reach guy. I've got to find a way to actually win the game here. Then this will go back to my hand. My opponent will get a 3/3 and go up to 28 life. Come on, Savage Stomp. Snap and sail back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A couple mana off from casting that. I can start attacking with my 3/4 in the air now, though. And we'll go and pass. So, survive another turn. I'm feeling pretty good about this, but I don't know if I'm going to have enough time here. My opponent just says go. Ooh, there we go. All right, Stomp's perfect. I think I actually just want to probably kill off this thing, right? Yeah. This is makes it the most likely that my creature survives, because they can't pounce this in response. That kills off their source of life gain. I can actually start attacking with some other stuff too, I think. Don't mind attacking with the Branch Walker, I don't think. And we'll see if we can get our opponent dead here. Because this sailback's going to be pretty good if they try to attack me back. I don't think they have a way to deal with my flyer right now. This 7/7 trampler is threatened to do quite a bit. Sailback can start attacking into them. Ooh, yep, perfect. All right, so still going to play a little conservative here. Attack with all of these things. Could attack with the Hammer Skull. And then we'll just Ramparts. I don't know. Anything? This is 10, this is 17. I have lethal with this crash. I could go for the thing here. Oh yeah, this would clear off the board. This would clear off their board. And Pounce doesn't work on this in response because they don't have a creature that can kill it. They would still 2 for 1, 3 for 1 themselves. I want to get, I think, this thing off board the most. So we will go ahead and crash the Ramparts. And if they have nothing for this, my guy actually survives. So they would be losing their entire board for my 3/2, taking 1,000,000 damage. And I have no idea what they could do in response. Looks like they've got something. Alright, so what are they pouncing? What? Oh, on the Hammer Skull? Okay. That makes sense, I suppose. Do they have another trick here? Alright, they're taking 1,000,000 damage. They're taking 12, they're going to gain 2, so they'll be at 9, I believe. My guy actually gets bigger here, too. I have 2 minutes left to wrap up this game. My opponent's probably thinking, hey, if I draw a blocker or something like that, then the Hammer Skull is the best way of getting in there. But I think I've got this in 2 minutes. Just have too many threats that they have to deal with. They have 2 cards in hand. I think I've got this. Registrar Alpha would be pretty decent. But this is threatening lethal next turn. Alright, 1 in hand. What is it? Just F6. Yes! Alright, so we lost that second game, or that second match to a pretty sick pirate deck, but we managed to just barely, with 2 minutes on the clock, get that last game. So pretty fun matches. I hope you guys enjoyed them. I would love to hear kind of the things that you appreciated about this draft or what you would have done differently as far as the actual draft section goes. And as always, I will see y'all next time. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned to the channel for some more Ixalan. I've got a couple packs stored up. Pretty happy with how my first 2 drafts have gone as a 3-0 and a 2-1, and I'll see you guys soon for more matches. All right, see y'all later.